The next thing that we want to do over here is, once we have learned about the consumer, we need to learn one more thing about the selector. So if I go to, I think we will make use of the notifier of the stream, the employee notifier stream, and we can actually make use of the selector. So here, if I go and add the selector, which comes from the SQLite selector. So this actually comes from uh, the provider package, right? So here is the provider package, right? And you can read the documentation. It basically mentions an equivalent to the consumer widget that we previously saw, and that can filter the update by selecting a limited amount of value and prevent rebuild if they don't change. So it's same like the consumer, but also it's like the context dot previously we have context dot select, right? So it's quite same, right? So you are just selecting a specific value and only rebuild if that value changes. And you can read the more documentation about it. The selector will obtain the value using the provider that of that pass the value of the selector, and the selector callback is then tasked to return an object that contain only the information needed to for the builder to complete, which basically means that we have to return a selected object for the builder to in order to complete for the builder, that we need to pass it to the builder over here. So you can just go and read more of the documentation and how that it can be used. And let's go and just I'll pass it over here, the type over here. If you see the type over here, we can pass in the dynamic type. There is a two type that we can pass in, right? So we will be passing the employee change notifier. One is the one, and the second type is the return type. So return type will be the list of the employee data. So this is the return type that we are going to return over here. And once we have that, I need to close it one more time over here, and then I need to call this select 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 over here. Okay, why I'm not getting that particular select? Okay, so it should be a selector that we require over here. And this selector, you can see that requires the function to pass in with the build context, right? And the change notifier, and the return type is of the list of the employee data, because here we have passed the list of the employee data. So here we have to return that one. So first is the context that we have to pass in, and the second is the notifier or the change notifier itself. So if you see, this is the particularly here, and the return type from here that we have to return is the notifier that we have, which is the employee change notifier dot. I need to get the employee list of string from here. Now once I have this particular return type that is returning over here, and from the build we have to just remove all of this value from the builder. I need to pass, this is also a function call, and you can see we need to pass the build context, the list of the employee data, and the widget itself. So let's go and call the context over here, and the second is the employees itself, because the return type is of the list of the employees. And the third parameter we can call the widget, or you can also call the child or something, right? And once we have that from here, we need to return something from here, right? So we will go and okay, from here I need to call the comma, and from here I need to return this list. So let me just copy or cut this list out and paste it over here. Just paste it over here, and I think that should be fine. Just the semicolon, and yeah, I think that should be fine. So the error is already gone. So we are over here. So now I can remove this one. I don't need to call this one. I'm just I have this selector widget already over here, and that is passing. We have to pass the type of the change notifier and the return type. That will be the list of the employee data that we are returning. In the selector, we just have to select the specific value that we want to select, which is the notifier that the employee list stream that we want to select. And on the builder, we have to pass the context, the list of the employee and the child itself. So I think that's the thing that we can do over here. And now if I go and rebuild it, and if I go over here, and okay, I think the Flutter got new data. This is not from here. I think this is still calling this particular employee stream. I think, yeah, this is not calling our notify stream, so we need to replace that one. So how we can replace that one is we'll go to the home screen, and in the home screen on the bottom navigation, right? So we need to change over here. So the bottom navigation, okay, so we need to replace it here. That will be of the employee notify stream screen, right? So if I go and rerun my application, okay, so we are not getting any of the data because the function that we have over here is to get the employee stream is never called, right? So we haven't called this function. So how we can call this function is, I think we will call it from the home screen. And whenever we have the bottom navigation tab pressed, so whenever there is a tab, and we'll check the value. If it is the second, the index is of the 1, right? 0 and the 1. So if the index is 1, then we'll call that particular function. So I'll check for the index over here. If the value is of equals to 1, which means that this will be our stream, and then we'll go and call for the we'll call our context.read, and here we'll have to pass in, and okay, so I need to import the, can I import from here? Yeah, I can import the provider package, and this will be of the employee change notifier that we got, and then I can call the get the employee stream function, right? So that is the one that we need to call. So let's go and run our application, and if I go, okay, so we got that one. And now you can see if I go to my employee stream, and here we will just call the debug print over here and pass in the stream build context, just to see whether how many times that is called. So if I go over here, you can see the build stream context that we get, and if I come over here and again go there, so it's just calling one time. And here if I go and, yeah, that is the one. So if I go and call something like print it out somewhere, so just to make sure that everything is working and calling perfectly, to this should be of the selector, right, that we have. And just go and you can see that the stream build context is called and the selector is called, right? And then if I go again, you can see the stream builder is called and the selector is called. So this is the way that you can actually use it. You can use a different ways. So I just want to show you that there is a selector widget if you just want to select a specific field and listen to it. So you may have a complex widget and you don't want to be like rebuild whole of your build context, right? And if you just want to build the certain specific part inside your UI, then you can either use a selector, that's really good, and you can also use the consumer widget that we previously saw. So that's all, and I hope you enjoyed this. We'll meet up in the next lecture. Till then, have a great day.